What up, peeps? It's your boy Carson here. I know I don't post here very often, and I'm still not going to play the drums. Anyway, wanted to kind of talk about something techie because, some of you know I'm the webmaster for Mike's Lessons. I'm into computers and tech stuff all the time, so I spend most of my day and night on a computer. Um, and uh, and I also like to spend my time on this thing, the iPhone. It's really cool. So the new iPhone 4 operating system came out, the iOS4, just recently came out. Many of you probably put it onto your um, iPhone. Irish Dave, I know Irish Dave did. He was the first one. He was the first one I actually saw who put it on his phone. So what's really cool about the iPhone 4 operating system is that it has multitasking. What that means is you can run an application in the background, you can run an application in the foreground, you can run several applications in the background actually, and run them all at the same time. Why do you care about this as a drummer? Well, here's why. So a lot of you, I know a lot of you guys use use a metronome that's on the iPhone because I hear you guys ask that question a lot. Mike, what metronome do you use? So I have a couple of different metronomes that I use on here for a couple of different reasons, and I'm still not even going to try to recommend a metronome app. Well, I kind of will in the course of showing you this, but I use the clock a lot, and the reason why is because there's a built-in application on the iPhone. It's called Clock. You can kind of see it there. I know it's really hard to see the screen. So Clock has this as part of it. Timer. So what timer is it's a countdown timer, and it has an alarm that goes off at the end of the countdown, right? So basically, you start your timer, it starts counting down, and what's cool about this is, you know how Mike always tells us about how to structure your practice so that you do 2 minutes of this, 4 minutes on your hands, or 2 minutes of the single stroke with your hand, with your left hand, then switch 2 minutes over here, right? Keep going, keep going, keep going, right? Burn up your arm, and then switch and do paradiddles, switch and do doubles, do your kick, right, kick, left, kick, all that kind of stuff. Do all your kit rudiments, all that stuff, and do it in little chunks of minutes. And it's a good way, if you don't have a lot of time to practice, to get in a really good practice on a daily basis. So, your little 10 minutes of practice that you can get in, some of us can only get that much in. We're just so that busy. Or your 40 minutes or 50 minutes or your hour or 30 minutes. Why did I say all those different minutes? I don't know. But basically, what's cool is, boom, time up, buddy. Yeah, that's right. So basically, it's a good way to keep you on track so you don't lose track of time, because I always lose track of time. I'm very bad about that, and I'm sure a lot of you guys are the same way as me. You just get carried away. And so it's a good way to stay organized during your practice, and this is a really nice way to keep you on track and to make sure you're doing the right thing. Enough said about that. Always the problem I had was this. I'd run that timer, and then I want to run my metronome at the same time, right? But I can't. Why? Because if I start up the metronome and then turn on the timer and run the timer, well, metronome stops, timer runs. That's not going to work. So with the multitasking, now you can run the timer in the background and run the metronome in the foreground. I would say vice versa, except for this one thing. The thing about these apps and the multitasking is that the person who developed the application needs to upgrade their application so that it takes advantage of the multitasking. And a lot of the metronome app developers have not done this yet. There's some of the, I have 2 different ones on here. Neither one has been upgraded to use multitasking. So you can't put the metronome in the background and have the timer in the foreground, or you can't really have anything in the foreground. It has to be the metronome in the foreground. If you have a metronome app that runs in multitasking, in other words, you can turn it on and then put something else in the foreground, like say the clock, the timer, make a post on here, tell us what it is, and show us. That would be really great. The ones I have, there's one called Metronome. Super creative name. It's the one with this big 1 on it. See, there's a 1 there. And the one right next to it with the little staff, that's called Metronome. M-Y-tronome, right? Metronome is cool because it has these really big numbers. And when you play it, see that? You can kind of get a visual cue if you're not hooking that into your headphones or something. And so, you hear what happened? I switched. Look what happened. I switched to the timer. No more metronome. Metronome just stopped, right? But so basically what you have to do is this. You have to start the timer, double click your home button, then your little icons come up at the bottom. Click on your metronome, start the metronome. Now you got metronome, and in 1 minute I will prove to you that the timer is running in the background. So I like this application. It's for that reason only, really. That's just pretty cool, and I don't know, I think I like seeing really big numbers. And then there is another application called Metronome, which is a nice metronome that has all kinds of crazy features. Like you can change the sounds of what the little beats are and stuff, and you know, all that kind of stuff. It has tons of settings. The best part of this is, and the reason why I bought this is because Mike pointed out to me that I don't have very good time when I don't have something telling me, you know, what the beat is. And even with the beat, I really don't have good time. Look at there. I have the metronome on. The timer just told me. Multitasking. It's a beautiful thing. So basically, the cool part about this particular metronome application, you can tell it how many bars you want on and how many bars to turn off and be quiet, so that you can practice coming back in on the 1 after those bars. So it's really good for practicing that. Similar to the kind of, I mean, maybe some of you guys know what the rhythm coach is. It's that little pad that Roland makes that has this built-in game kind of like this, where it'll give you a metronome for 4 bars and then stop 4 bars, or how many ever bars you set. And this one is settable too. You can set the bars to say 4 on, 1 off, something like that. So the cool part is, and this doesn't run in the background. So, you know, the terrible thing is that if I turn on my timer, if I switch to turn on my timer, the metronome doesn't play anymore. But if I do turn on the timer and then turn on the metronome, my metronome's working. Click, 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 right? Telling me 120 beats per minute is this long. And as soon as it's done with that, it will, oh, listen, it stopped. Not because of multitasking, but because I told it to stop for 4 beats, 4 bars. So anyway, basically, that is a really useful way to practice and to keep yourself on track during your practices and be able to use your metronome at the same time. So hopefully you find that useful. If you have any other useful tips on how to use your iPhone to practice or your iPad to practice, post them up here and show us, because you know that's what's really helpful, and you know, we all should be practicing, right? And we should be trying to be organized about it. And these little cool little technology devices like this, time's up, can really help us with that. So we'll talk to you later. See you online.